All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour one of Jon and Jim. It could be an eventful next couple of hours. We'll get you ready for Adam Mazur, who's making his big league debut tonight. The former second-round pick of the Padres, Tim Hagerty, El Paso Chihuahuas. He'll join us, the voice of the Chihuahuas, AAA affiliate of the Padres. He'll join us at 3:30. San Diego State basketball transfer, I believe, is a preferred walk-on. He played locally here in San Diego at Francis Parker. Kimo Ferrari on the all-name team in college
Greatest
hoops
name ever.
will join us at 4:30 here today. You can use the Jon and Jim talkback mic, and we'll start here, Jim. Do you think the Padres are going to make a splash before the trade deadline? You can use the talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, tap the red talkback mic, leave a 30-second talkback. We'll air your responses later this hour. The reason we asked that today, are they going to make a splash? There's two reports, Jim, on the Padres already being very aggressive in starting pitching markets. Jeff Passan in his trade deadline primer saying the Padres before injuries to Darvish and Musgrove were active and looking for starters. And then Dennis Lin and Ken Rosenthal within the last hour saying the Padres are showing strong interest in White Sox left-handed starter Garrett Crochet. So this should be no surprise. I mean, this is who A.J. Preller is. It would almost be surprising if he wasn't active in the starting pitching market, right?
Couple things. I think this is no surprise at all.
Right.
And secondly, probably a signal of they don't believe that either Musgrove or Darvish are going to be healthy for the remainder of the season. And it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see at least Musgrove for the rest of the year. Honestly, I'm at the point right now where, like I said last night on the Rapper Show, I don't trust this organization when it comes to injuries ever. I never trust what they have to say because anytime they tell us something, it most likely, more often than not, is the complete opposite. Like, oh, tests were fine. 2 days later, broken shoulder, right? Oh, he's just going on the IL for a little discomfort in his shoulder, out for the rest of the year. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't trust this organization. So with that being said, 2 times on the IL for Joe for the same thing, which is elbow inflammation. To me, and I'm not like reporting anything because I don't do that crap, but this is like he's done. I don't expect to see him for the rest of the year. I'd be shocked if we do. And it's no surprise that now Preller is linked to starting pitching because he's a madman. He's crazy. And we've already seen that he's pretty much pot committed 2 times over with this team this year with all the trades and moves that he's made.
Well, what's interesting is Passan reported that Preller was on the hunt for starters before the injuries to Darvish and Musgrove. So maybe he knew something that we didn't know.
Of course he does, because they never tell us anything.
Well, I mean, not like he's obligated to tell us about him hunting for starting pitching.
Oh, no, but I meant like with injuries or...
Yeah, but he's also not obligated. Do they really know the extent of Joe Musgrove's injury today? Probably. Do they know that Joe Musgrove's out for the year today?
I bet they have a better understanding of where Joe's at
than we do. I hope so. They're the organization. That's kind of their job. He's under contract with them. I don't think they've said anything this time around with Joe Musgrove that's like completely untruthful. Nobody's saying he may be back this year. Nobody's guaranteeing it. We've heard that reporting from Kevin Acee. We haven't heard directly
let me
from
translate
AJ Preller on Joe Musgrove.
Let me translate that for you. He's not coming back.
No, I agree with you. He may not come back, but I'm saying we haven't heard from AJ Preller on either Musgrove or Darvish, right? We've heard reporting from Kevin Acee, Dennis Lin, I think, saying today in The Athletic, the expectation is that Joe Musgrove won't be back before July. So again, you have Passan saying they're interested in starting pitching even before these injuries. Then the significant story that mentions a specific player is this really promising left-handed starter, Garrett Crochet with the White Sox. Obviously, they've already done a deal with the White Sox. His numbers are off the charts this year.
Off the charts?
He's got completely off the charts, off all the charts. One of the best left-handed starters in baseball. Look at the advanced analytics, 90 percentile everywhere. He's had a very good year. The White Sox aren't good, but he's had a very good year. And he's under control for 2.5 years, and he's only making $800,000 a year. I mean, it would be a huge pickup. It would be a huge addition. It would cost you a lot, per the reporting of Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lin, like someone like a Ethan Salas or a Leo DeVries. And that's why they're saying they have interest, but it's not necessarily going to come together. But this would be a huge addition, a controllable starter with a 3.4 ERA that's 24 years of age. That would be a pretty significant addition, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would not be surprised if and when Preller makes a move for a starting pitcher, because there's a lot on the line this year. The National League is pretty mid. It's not a great, bottom half of the National League or middle of the National League for the final wild card spots. And they're right in the middle of it, even though they're basically 500 at 32 and 31. And it'd be a good pickup. But again, you're gonna. Okay, I know. I've seen
his numbers are not no joke this year.
Yeah, and if it costs you a bunch of prospects, what has been the line from this franchise from the start of spring training, specifically from why am I blanking? I'm blanking.
Eric Katsenda?
No, not Eric Katsenda.
AJ
Eric
Preller?
Griffner. Jeez.
Okay.
That they need to have the minor leagues contribute in a big way this year.
Sure.
And for the foreseeable future, they can't keep going out there and spending money and trading away a bunch of prospects and having these big time contracts not come through. They need the minor leagues, and they need their system to produce in order to be successful, according to him. And so, if you now trade away even more prospects for the starting pitcher, I mean, is it going to work out? I don't know, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Preller goes out and makes a move.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, the other side of that conversation, which we've had, is like, what can you really trust in your system? As in, will it pay dividends or not? This guy's already having success in the big leagues, and he's almost like he's a controllable starter. He's not making a lot of money. So, like, if you brought up tomorrow Adam Mazur, he's actually up today, and we'll talk to Tim Hagerty about him in 20 minutes. This guy, Garrett Crochet, makes the same amount as Adam Mazur would make. Essentially, he's making $800,000. Yeah. Adam Mazur would make $750,000. The difference being Crochet is going to cost you trade capital. Are you willing to give up, I don't know, name Dylan Lesko, Robbie Snelling, Leo DeVries, some combination of these players to go get a controllable left-handed starter that could impact your rotation now and into the future? Like, what are the pros and cons of doing something like that? If you don't have Musgrove and Darvish, you roll the dice with Mazur in your system, or do you need something more certain, more guaranteed to potentially get you to the postseason?
One thing that Preller has done well this year, and I'll give him credit for it, is majority of the moves that he has made have worked out
really well.
Like, to the signings, to the trades, not 100%. Like, Woo-Suk Go was a massive whiff. He's got DFA'd by the Marlins.
Was it? But it wasn't that much money, was it?
It was like $4 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen, I feel like.
But Jerkson Profar, huge success.
Right.
Donovan Solano, picking him up, huge success. Trading for Luis Ariz, huge success. And then Dylan Cease, huge success.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Now, it hasn't translated to like overall team success because they're still 32 and 31. But most of the moves that he has made this year have panned out, and they've all produced. So, I mean, I guess give him the benefit of the doubt for this year and this year alone, not for his, entire tenure, but just this year alone, the moves that he's made on paper, they've, like, those players have worked out. Like, they've all had success here. But the more you keep trading away from your minor league system, we've seen what happens here, and what's happened in the past is that, you possibly are going to lose a lot from your future. Now, I don't know what it would cost to get Crochet, but if it is like 3 or 4 top prospects, is that really worth it here?
Well, I guess you got to, that's the question. Like, are you confident or comfortable, Padres fans, with them getting to the postseason with the question marks around Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove? Can they get there if they don't make a sizable addition to their pitching staff and specifically to their rotation? Like, I'd advocate for it. Why not? They're so far heavily invested. They're so pot committed. What's another move? The guy's made his career on moves. He's made his career on trading assets for his major league club. Why would he stop now when you could argue his job is truly on the line this year, where if they're out, he's out. If they're in, he's in. As in, we witnessed 2020 and 2021. Are you confident without? You just said you don't think Joe Musgrove is going to pitch again this year. If he doesn't, are we overly confident this team's getting to the postseason without making a sizable move?
I mean, that would mean that Michael King and Matt Waldron and Dylan Cease all do really well for the rest of the year.
Right. Hence the fact that they are interested in starting pitching.
Right. So starting pitching is the biggest need of this team. And again, I if it's not Crochet,
Sure.
it's going to
There'll
be
other
somebody.
names,
It's going to
of
be
course.
somebody else, whoever it is. He's
Absolutely.
going to trade for a starting pitcher. I would almost guarantee that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I guarantee that we're not going to see Musgrove again this season. I just personally think it would be a bit surprising if we do see him at all this season. So with that, yeah, of course he's going to go out there and be in every single type of, trade talks. His name's the Padres are going to be brought up. They're going to be linked to a lot of starting pitching, and he's going to get somebody. Whoever it is, I don't know, but he's going to get somebody. Did they make a move? What happened?
No, Brent wants to talk.
Oh,
yeah, he pointed at me. So they're 7 back of the Dodgers, and they got a 1.5 lead, and the way too early to look at wild card standings. We've got about 8 weeks until the trade deadline, roughly.
Like that, yeah.
So, do you think this happens sooner, or do you think it happens closer to the deadline?
I think he's a
and
complete
what do you
wild card.
Do you think it should happen sooner, or do you think they should wait?
I think if
longer?
he had his pick, he would do it sooner rather than later, as proven by the Luis Ariz deal. We've seen some minor movement around baseball. I think you'd rather get the 18 to 20 starts from someone as opposed to the 10 or 12 starts from someone, and they clearly have a need. I mean, Adam Mazur may do the job. He's going to pitch here tonight. He could be very effective. Could have a good couple of months, could have a good couple of starts. I don't know what they're really asking of him. But you're without Darvish and Musgrove. Like, heading into the year, these are your 2 horses. You're without your 2 horses. Now you've added to your credit in Dylan Cease. Waldron has really performed beyond expectations. Michael King, I think, has done the job relatively well, considering expectations. But you got potentially 2 needs. So I think if you're AJ Preller, you'd rather do it sooner rather than later. If I was AJ Preller, I'd be adding starting pitching too. I'm not going to just risk it. We've seen what happened before without starting pitching, and it hasn't worked out overly well. I mean, if I was AJ Preller, I'm not saying it's going to be Garrett Crochet. I have absolutely no idea. But if I'm AJ Preller, how would I not be thinking about adding starting pitching?
Yeah, this could happen at any moment. Like any moment. Like I saw that on your screen. I thought there was a move that was made because it's a roster move. But anyway, he when I see reports of like heavily interested in somebody,
sure,
that to me signals like this could happen at any moment. Same thing it happened with Luis Ariz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, boom. It was reported that the Padres were looking at Luis Ariz. Like a couple hours later, he's on the team. He got traded.
Yep.
So 6:05, it's going to go down.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. 5:55.
Same thing with Dylan Cease. There was talks about Padres and Dylan Cease. Boom. Happened.
Yeah.
So, Preller's not great at like bluffing or like keeping a poker face.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he has his sights set on somebody and it gets reported, more often than not, something's going down. And if it's not for that player, it's for somebody else.
I'm honestly like, listen, I'm always the here and now guy. Like, I'm sure Dylan Lesko's got a bright future. I'm sure he does. I'm sure Robbie Snelling has a bright future. That's what people believe. I'm sure the same thing with Leo DeVries, their top prospect, Ethan Salas too. And by the way, they're not all moving. I don't even know if any one of them is going to move, but it's part of the business. I mean, if you're going to make splashes, you got to give up real returns. I think they gave up a real return for Juan Soto. You could argue the merits of it. In real time, people argued for the Juan Soto trade. I think in real time, I would understand giving up assets to go get starting pitching for this team, because I think a lot of people like Salas and DeVries and whomever else, but I'm also less concerned about 25, 26, 27 than I am about 2024 right now, both as a fan and also if I'm the general manager running this organization as well.
Wouldn't you think there's a couple players that they're just like, you trade them, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to move all of them, but I'm never a big believer in saying someone is truly untouchable. If you can enhance your team with a can't miss player, then how untouchable is a player that's not helping your team right now? Really? I'm not saying, I don't know. Maybe Ethan Salas is that guy. Maybe Leo DeVries is that guy. Maybe they're not. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're going to get.
This player, though?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would tell you yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes. I mean, what part of it are you not seeing in Garrett Crochet that's being reported because he's on a bad team or because he's young, or what part of him are you not liking?
It's not that I'm not liking him. I've never, honestly, I've never heard of this guy's name in my entire life.
But that doesn't have anything to do with whether he's can't miss or not, right?
But usually a can't miss player, I would
You've
feel
heard
like
of?
I've heard of him before.
Sure.
Like, oh, this name is being talked about, and all of a sudden now it's like a guy that's made 13 career starts in his entire major league career since 2020 is a can't miss
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, it's more starts obviously than Robbie Snelling has made, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's got multiple years of control.
2 years left after
this year plus 2. That's crazy control for a starting pitcher. 24 years of age,
$800,000.
Yeah. So that's a lot of checks, right? Doesn't make a lot of money. Controllable, which Preller loves. Has had a dynamite year, right? Has really high analytics.
You trade for Garrett Crochet and you give up like Lesko and Snelling and somebody else, and Garrett turns out to be really good for. Right. What I'm saying is like the depletion of the farm system again. Is it worth it?
I don't know. I don't know if Garrett Crochet will be great here, and I don't know if Robbie Snelling will be great here. I don't know if Ethan Salas will be great here, or if Garrett Crochet will be great here. I just know how AJ Preller operates, and it might not be Crochet. Maybe he doesn't want to give up his top 2 prospects and make it up. Or maybe he's willing to give up his 5th and 6th prospects for a different starting pitcher. I'm an advocate of it. I have no problem with him going back to the well, so to speak, to enhance his 2024 team. What other choice does he have? He's playing in front of 40,000 people a night, and he's going to field a losing team that misses out on the postseason with his job on the line? Like, I would do the same thing as my point if I was the GM of the team in my 10th year, needing to get into the postseason.
And there's no other pitcher out there that...
I'm sure there's a lot of them. There's going to be a lot. I mean, Jeff Passan put out a whole trade deadline primer with all 30 teams. There's tons. Tyler Anderson's mentioned. The 34-year-old veteran. Everyone has their pros and cons. Half year of control, 3 years of control. 24 years of age, 34 years of age. Hard thrower, soft thrower, right? So there's going to be options. But hey, listen, you're staring down the possibility of not having you, Darvish, and Joe Musgrove. What are you going to do about it? Just overcome it?
No. They'll make a move. Like, I guarantee. I don't know when. I don't know for who. But he is going to make a move. I would bet a lot of money on that.
Of course he will.
I would bet a lot of money. I'm not in baseball, so I won't get banned for life.
Right.
So we're good.
Yeah, you can bet even on the Pirates.
Exactly.
If you want to.
Yeah, I can bet on anybody. Doesn't matter. But sitting here today, looking at the things that this team needs, looking at the injuries that this team has, looking at where they stand in the wild card, look at the, just the trends that they have. They're going to make a move for a pitcher.
Correct.
Guarantee it. Who is it? I don't know. But
neither do I.
Garrett Crochet is a name that they're heavily interested, according to reports. And if it's Garrett Crochet for a bunch of high-level prospects, then that's what's going to happen. And I frankly, we can't sit here and be like, "Whoa, my gosh, what about 2 or 3 years from now?" Because we're the show that's like, win now.
That's what I'm saying. So we're on the same page, I think.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I'm not doing it at all costs. There's a cost for anything. I mean, sometimes you have to walk away from the table if the cost is too steep. That's AJ Preller's job. He needs to determine what the right cost is. But again, I just go back. It hasn't been that long since 2021. And 2021 was a complete and utter failure with their pitching staff and their rotation. And you could get cute here. And you've got guys like Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, Adrian Morejon, Adam Mazur. These guys may absolutely have value as starters, but for 4 months to cover dozens of starts with 2 spots in your rotation open maybe is asking too much.
What I will say, though, is if you do trade a bunch of top-level prospects, I said it last year when they didn't trade Snell or Hader at the deadline. Same thing this year. Opposite direction. It better work.
Well, that's on him either way.
No. I'm just like, you trade away, again, some top-level prospects here that are names we know, like the Leskos or Snellings,
sure.
Or, you know what I mean? This better work.
But guess what? His job's on the line either way.
Yeah.
You don't trade away Ethan Salas, you're not the GM that reaps the rewards of Ethan Salas in the big leagues. You do trade away Ethan Salas and it doesn't work, you're not the GM reaping the rewards potentially of Garrett Crochet.
What do you think Eric Grupner's saying? Like, because
that's a good question.
He's a big advocate of minor league system.
Right. Is he an advocate of making the postseason this year?
I think he is because they sell out every single game.
So that's what. So how do you get there?
Well,
I'm asking. Can he get there
I-
without starting pitching? Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe he believes they can.
it is funny though that was the message from the team. Like, we got to use our minor league system, and then they're going to go right around and pretty much trade everybody in their minor league system. Almost.
Well, when injuries happen, it's like, what other options do you really have? You can rely on your system. I think Adam Mazur might be a really good starting pitcher. Maybe they don't need to address starting pitching needs because Mazur has a good couple of months. Maybe that happens, but we'll find out.
One thing about Crochet, even, he's got good numbers. All right. Are you at all scared that right now this is the most innings he's ever pitched his entire career at 69 2/3?
You've looked at his minor league numbers?
Well, I meant like in his major league career since 2020.
Well, I'd need to know what he did in the minor leagues. Like in 2022, was he a starter and he threw 125 innings in the minors, or was he?
Well, in 2020, he made his big league debut.
And he's been in the big league since?
Yes. And he didn't play in 2022.
He didn't play in 2022.
Does not have.
So maybe he was hurt in 2022.
Probably.
Yeah, I guess I'm concerned with all starting pitching. I'm concerned with everything. I'm concerned with Michael King's innings
This
usage.
is his first year as a starter, by the way.
Same with Michael King. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with all these guys.
So
I'm
then,
concerned with you, Darvish.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about Joe Musgrove. I'm concerned about Matt Waldron.
I'm concerned about everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what I can really do about that. I mean, guys are going to be.
Would you want a more sure thing, or would you want the higher upside guy that's kind of like the unknown?
Use the talkback mic and answer that. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap that red talkback mic, leave a 30-second talkback. We'll air your responses later this hour. Tim Hagerty, he has watched Adam Mazur pitch in AAA. He has not thrown well. Will make his major league debut tonight for the Padres. Tim Hagerty, voice of the Padres AAA affiliate, joins us next. What can we expect from Adam Mazur in his big league debut tonight for the Padres against the Angels? Tim Hagerty, voice of the Padres AAA affiliate, will join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by the San Diego Humane Society. Padres, Game 2 versus the Angels tonight, 6:38 first pitch. Andy Mazur makes his Major League debut for the Padres. Luis Ariz is back in today's lineup, hitting leadoff for the Padres after missing yesterday's game. Major League Baseball has suspended Padres pitcher Jay Groom for a full year when he gambled on baseball with the Red Sox. And they have banned Tucupita Marcano for life from baseball while gambling while he was with the Pirates. According to Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lin, the Padres have shown strong interest in pitcher Garrett Crochet. From the White Sox, NFL news of the day, 49ers signed Christian McCaffrey to a 2-year deal where he will make $19 million per season. Make a life-saving difference for animals in need by supporting Give Humane, San Diego Humane Society's Day of Giving. Your donations through June 27th will go twice as far. Thanks to our generous donors. Learn more at givehumanesd.org.
Trade deadline. You can open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap the red talkback mic to leave a 30-second talkback. We'll air responses coming up at 3:45. Tim Hagerty is with us, voice of the El Paso Chihuahuas. Adam Mazur.
He needs to change his name because I cannot get his freaking name right. It's so ridiculous.
All right, Adam Mazur is going to make.
I keep saying Andy.
I know you do. Is scheduled to make his big league debut tonight. By the way, I've heard Mazur and Mazur back and forth over the last couple of days. We'll see what Tim has been saying in AAA. I know his numbers, Tim, haven't been great so far in the PCL, but the PCL is not the greatest indicator for success in the major leagues. But what is it that the Padres are so high on when it comes to Adam Mazur? And thanks so much for hopping on.
Yeah, well, first off, the pronunciation was quite a topic in Pacific Coast League circles.
Right, I figured.
For one thing, I, like you, had to not accidentally say the name of the former San Diego sportscaster, which is so similar to the pitcher.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though it's Mazur, what I did is I walked up to him and I had him just say his name into my recorder, and I can email you the MP3. It's hot off the press, but
please do.
Yes. So I think about it as it rhymes with measure. The way he says it, it's Mazur.
Mazur.
That's direct from the player.
Adam Mazur.
Exactly.
Okay.
From the player, yes. But as far as what he did well, first off, there's a great rhythm. Pitch clock is not a concern at all with this guy. He just blazes through innings. He gets the ball back and he's ready to go 3 or 4 seconds later. And he throws a lot of strikes, just pounds the strike zone. At AA this year, 32 strikeouts, 5 walks. Comes to AAA, did the same thing. In AAA, 50 strikeouts, only 9 walks. So you could tell this was a pitcher that was going to go pretty fast through El Paso. And it's amazing, guys. When you think about it, he was drafted in 2022. Not many guys from that draft are already in the majors.
So when you look at his numbers in AAA, his ERA is pretty high. Are you saying like don't look at that? His in-depth numbers are better than his ERA has shown in the minors for only 4 starts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say don't look at that. Because there was a few starts in Las Vegas which is probably the most hitter-friendly park in the Pacific Coast League. And he started 2 games there because of the 6-game schedule format in AAA. And in both of those, he was outstanding in his first 4 innings or so. And then maybe that final inning, all of a sudden those fly balls against him had a little bit more distance. So, yeah, I think when you look at control numbers, he's not going to be someone that there's extra base runners with walks. And I'd expect him to do well.
Tim Hagerty is the voice of the El Paso Chihuahuas. He's joining us right now on Jon and Jim. Again, Adam Mazur set to make his big league debut here tonight. This is always an interesting conversation, Tim, and it's hard to get in the minds of like AJ Preller or the front office. Sometimes they say like a player is ready. Other times a move is necessitated by something that happens at another level, right? Like, was Mazur on track to get to the big leagues regardless of pitching injuries at some point in 2024, in your opinion?
In my opinion, if I had to guess, and this is not based on any sort of inside info, I would have said he'd pitch in the majors this season.
Mm-hmm.
With both Darvish and Musgrove going on the injured list, that probably accelerated that. But yeah, I think it's probably a combination of both. I think he certainly was on track to be a big leaguer, but maybe this made it weeks or maybe a month faster than it would have happened naturally.
What kind of stuff does he have? Like, what's in his pitching repertoire?
Yeah, he uses fastball, cutter, slider, changeup, according to the pitch tracking data. Very competitive on the mound, although mild-mannered in person, very polite, soft-spoken Midwestern guy. But on the mound, they say very competitive, very positive, good teammate is what I'm told from the coaches and teammates especially. So I was also told today that manager Pete Zamora here in AAA, he found out that Mazur was going to be going to the majors on Sunday afternoon, and El Paso had a night game. So that allowed him to have some fun. And he told Mazur in front of the entire team during a meeting, which is always memorable for the player and can be pretty emotional for the teammates as well when they witness a guy getting that news for the first time.
When you have a pitcher like Mazur who has started in the minor leagues, like you wouldn't expect him to be on any type of like restrictions, right, in the big leagues, because he's been a guy that I know he hasn't thrown more than 6 innings, I think, in any outing this year, but that's not abnormal for pitchers in the minor leagues. So you would think he'd be given the full complement of pitches now that he's in the big leagues, right?
Yeah, the only thing I've heard sometimes is that at the beginning of a AAA season, all starting pitchers still, they're going to have a lower pitch count than they do come summertime. But as we speak in early June, I wouldn't think that's an issue, no.
Jeremiah Estrada had a brief stint in AAA. Now he's turned into one of the best relievers in baseball with what he's done with the Padres. What did you see with him in AAA in the brief time there that maybe you could say, oh, yeah, I saw a little bit of that and no really big surprise what he's doing right now in the major league level?
Yeah, the really specific thing that I actually learned a lot about was a pitch's carry, and not a pitcher, like an individual pitch is carry. Like that's a new thing that's being measured, just the way spin rate was all the rage 10 years ago, a pitch's carry. And you know, when we were kids, people would talk about Nolan Ryan's rising fastball. Well, it turns out scientifically the ball wasn't rising. It's just that it wasn't going down because of gravity the way most other more normal pitchers would. So it gave the appearance that it was rising. And apparently Estrada really has that on that particular metric. There was a game that El Paso played in Sacramento, and apparently that night on the measurements, he would throw these low pitches that for a lot of guys, it would bounce. that it stays elevated and either goes into the strike zone or gets a swing and a miss. So it was actually educational to kind of hear about his repertoire, and what he's doing in the majors is outstanding. I was not surprised to see him thriving, but as far as setting major league records, I don't know who would have predicted that.
Tim Hagerty with us right now on Jon and Jim, voice of the Chihuahuas, the Padres AAA affiliate. Tim, I'm just curious before you go. I mean, you see these gaudy hitting numbers, obviously, in the PCL. You look at what Luis Arraez is doing in the big leagues right now. I know he was hurt. He's actually back in the lineup tonight for the Padres. When you see a player like that, I mean, it's unbelievable, right? This guy's hitting 400 over an extended stretch with the Padres. You can only imagine what he would be doing in the PCL. What's been the reaction on the farm to what Luis Arraez has done since the trade?
I love watching him as a player because, I saw this one thing that he apparently has a low exit velocity, but he's like an example of who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
He's on base all the time. So, exit velocity is important, especially if you're talking about a power hitter. But I mean, it doesn't matter if you got on base via a single or a walk. You're on at first base. So I think he's one of the most entertaining players in the game to watch. He's so hard to get out. So yeah, I think the entire organization, the sense I got is just what a great move, and also to get him early in the season. It's the type of trade you'd usually make in July, but to get those extra months was so valuable. And that's been AJ Preller's trademark to me, is just these unexpected trades, whether it's in the winter or in the spring or even at the deadline. To get a player like him in May was awesome.
What's the PCL record for batting average? I'm not really asking, but I'm telling. If Luis Arraez spent a season in the PCL, what would he hit? It would be some. I mean, it would be what he's going to hit in the big leagues has been incredible. Tim, always appreciate it, man. I know you've got a game tonight. We appreciate you taking a few minutes for San Diegans, and we hope you connect with us again soon. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, John.
All right, Tim Hagerty, El Paso Chihuahuas. All right, we'll get to that talkback, Mike, on the other side. If you want to weigh in, will the Padres make a splash before the trade deadline? You can open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap the red talkback Mike to leave a 30-second talkback. We'll air your responses coming up, plus the return of Luis Arraez next on Jon and Jim. All right, San Diego State basketball transfer, the San Diegan Kimo Ferrari will join us coming up at 4:30. Your talkback responses. Will the Padres make a splash before the trade deadline? Those are next. It's your talkbacks. Will the Padres make a splash before the trade deadline? You can open that iHeart app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap the red talkback mic to leave a 30-second talkback. We'll air your responses in a moment. Kimo Ferrari, he's a Brown transfer from San Diego. He's going to walk on at San Diego State. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Before we get to this talkbacks, Jim, Luis Arraez, after missing one game, is back in the lineup here tonight. He will DH and lead off for the Padres in Anaheim.
Very good news.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he was not available last night. We haven't even talked about last night's game, by the way.
They lost.
They lost against a left-handed pitcher.
They
Scored
another one tonight.
1 run. There was a couple things in that game that I think people are maybe getting too upset about, but it just shows what this team's identity is this year. They're great on the road. They can't hit left-handed pitching, and they suck at home. Not the greatest.
They're not good against bad teams.
And they're not great against bad teams. You're right.
Still under 500, I think.
Okay. And they're going to play a lot of bad teams here coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Oakland.
Maybe they should just lie and just pretend like they're playing the Yankees and the Dodgers every week.
Well, even when they played the Yankees, they still got their ass kicked.
True, but they're over 500 against teams.
Dodgers. They're good. Dodgers are good. But yeah, good news. Luis Arraez is back in the lineup, and you can't lose this series to the Angels.
Well, no, I mean Schulte's a big series guy. You know, even with the whole series streak, their first time in 15 years they've won 8 of 10 series. They are 32-31. So that's who they are. They've won 8 of 10 series, but they're 32-31. Now, if they win this series, then they'll be back to 3 games over 500. They have a little bit of work to do, though. And tonight they're facing another left-handed starter, nowhere near as good as Tyler Anderson, who came in with those gaudy numbers. This pitcher tonight, whoever it is a 5.5. It was a Sandoval, 5.4, something like that.
Honestly, it doesn't matter what these stats are for left-handed
Fair
pitching.
point.
Like anytime a left-handed pitcher, starting pitcher, takes on the Padres, it's like they turn into Sandy Koufax 2.0.
To that point, 15 left-handed starters this year have a 1.37 ERA against the Padres.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what the guy's stats are. I said last night on the wrap-up show, it would it would be good for the Padres to come out and put like 3 or 4 runs on the board in the first inning for Adam Mazur.
Yes.
Because we have no idea what you're going to get from him tonight. We really don't. And we don't know how long he's going to go. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, expect him to go 6 innings. Like, I would be surprised if he went and completed 5. That'd be a great outing for him if he completed 5 innings today.
We'll do pitching line during the wrap, and you can predict your pitching line.
But putting up some early runs on the board versus a left-handed pitcher would be pretty good for a rookie on the mound making his major league debut.
I completely agree with you. They need to find a way to win this game. I get it. Mazur's making his debut, but they need to find a way to win this game. All right. Talkback line day 2 has been active. We asked, will the Padres make a splash between now and the trade deadline? I'm not sure if that's how people reacted to that question or not. Here are some of your reactions on the Jon and Jim Talkback. All right.
So what could go wrong?
I mean, I don't know if it's that small of a sample size. If he's been up since 2020, maybe it's his first year starting, but it's Michael King's first year starting. I mean, Dylan Cease was a first-time starter. Isn't everyone a first-time starter at some point? Like, that wouldn't be my reason not to make the move because he's a first-time starter. Because everyone's been a first-time starter.
But I think it's...
You know, when you say he's a baseball player, of
Right.
course he's a baseball player.
Yeah.
It's along the lines of, if you're going to trade away top-level prospects, don't you want, like, pretty close to a sure thing?
I mean, what does that even mean? I thought Juan Soto was a sure thing.
Well, he turned out to be their best player.
But was it a sure thing? Like, would you look back at the Juan Soto era and be like, man, they hit a home run there?
No, because you traded away, like,
Exactly.
a couple potential all-stars.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what it cost to get one. So, right? You agree?
But I would have done that trade 10 out of 10 times.
Agreed.
No matter what.
And it didn't reap the rewards that people had hoped it would reap, right? World Series.
Right. Well, yeah.
Playoffs multiple times.
Yeah.
One playoff appearance, right?
One NLCS appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this guy, while his numbers, advanced numbers are off the charts, like you showed me. It is a guy that it's a fact, John. He's not pitched more than, this is the most he's ever pitched in his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a sure thing. It's not a guy that if you traded away 2 top prospects, Dylan Cease was to me, like, okay, you know what you're getting with Dylan Cease. You're getting a guy that's going to give you 180 plus innings. He's going to give you 200 plus strikeouts. He's going to give you 30 plus starts. I do that trade. Even though Drew Thorpe is now amazing in the White Sox organization, I know that Dylan Cease I know what I'm going to get with Dylan Cease.
Right.
Michael Crochet.
There's a big difference.
I don't know what I'm getting with him.
Well, he makes $800,000.
I know he does.
And the Padres need to stay under a number. And Dylan Cease is signed for 1 more year. And this guy signed, you know what I mean? Like, everything has pros and cons. So, yeah, you know what you got with Cease? Well, he makes a lot of money, and he's only under control for a year. This guy may be less do you know about him, but you get him for 2.5 years, and he makes less money.
Look, I would definitely. There's two things here. Yes, trade for him. Screw it. They need to win this year. But I'm not saying that's like this home run type of trade. If it goes down, it's a TBD for me. It's because we don't know if the innings, that he's pitched are going to come back and be like, oh,
Sure.
He's not pitched that many innings his entire career, and it's a little bit of a struggle, and maybe he blossoms and becomes a great pitcher in like 2 years' time, right? Like, I don't know that. And that's what I'm saying is, yeah, trade for him right now because I want this team to win this year. But also, you can also say that, well, I'm a little like on the
100%.
reserved a little
Well,
bit.
it's like, okay, they could go get Tyler Anderson, who's 34, and it costs less, and you have him, I'm assuming he's under control just through this year. And, okay, so you get a starter for 10 starts, or you could go out and get someone that's 24 with control and potentially get 80 starts from him over the next 2.5 years. So, like, there's different costs. There's different risks. There's different rewards. Tyler Anderson, yeah, he'll make 10 starts for you. Is that of value? Will that reap the rewards you're looking for?
He's also making $13 million
Tyler Anderson
a year.
So again, you could probably cross him off the list because they're trying to stay under a tax threshold. But then again, you'd only be paying him for a third of a year.
It's going to be very interesting if he trades a bunch of top level prospects and how we're not going to know, but I wonder how it's going to be viewed inside that organization if Preller did that.
Well, again, at the end of the day, I always go back to what is their record? Like, I don't care if he trades away everyone if they win the World Series. So, are you going to get to the postseason by not making trades? Maybe. So then go down that path. If you think you're not getting to the postseason by not making trades, then I would advocate for going down the path of making trades and giving up prospects. All right, the wrap is on the other side. Kimo Ferrari, a San Diegan who's transferring in from Brown to San Diego State men's basketball. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim is next.
All right, this update is brought to you by the San Diego Humane Society. Padres, Angels, game 2 of their 3-game series tonight in Anaheim, 6:38. First pitch, Adam Mazur making his major league debut tonight for the Padres. Luis Arraez back in the lineup today for the Padres after missing yesterday's game. MLB announced today they have suspended Padres pitcher Jay Groom for a full year because he gambled when he was on the Red Sox. And they also announced they banned Tucupita Marcano for life from baseball while he was betting on baseball with the Pittsburgh Pirates. According to Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lin, the Padres have shown strong interest in pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. And NFL news of the day, the 49ers signed Christian McCaffrey to a 2-year deal where he will be making $19 million per season. Make a life-saving difference for animals in need by supporting Give Humane, San Diego Humane Society's Day of Giving. Your donation through June 27th will go twice as far thanks to our generous donors. Learn more at givehumanesd.org.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We do have Daryl Hall tickets to give away this hour. It's June 16th. Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Yes, that Daryl Hall, Hall & Oates, June 16th, coming up. Ticketmaster.com for details and tickets. San Diego State's newest basketball player, Kimo Ferrari, San Diegan, Francis Parker High School, 4 years at Brown. He's going to join us coming up at 4:30. Still ahead, of course, we have Jim's back page. We still have the wrap to get to. Luis Arraez is back in the lineup. The Padres need to beat the Angels tonight, right? Like, they kind of need to do that for us to continue to say the nice things we've said, which by our standards have been pretty nice. Hey, it's not 2023. They're on a nice trajectory. They're on pace to win 82 games.
Yeah, if you want us to polish the Padres off here, they need to be better than 32 and 31.
Right, because 32 and 31 paces to 82 and 80.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're saying losing 2 out of 3 to the 22 and 38 Angels is bad?
It wouldn't be good enough.
Oh, okay.
Like, I know that the directive from this organization is positivity, no matter what, but you got to be better than 32 and 31 if you expect to get that, guys.
Right. So let's see.
Yeah.
I'm with you. They honestly, like, again, not must, but like, to stay on a trajectory that's positive, you got to win this series, which means no margin here.
Yeah, nobody cares about 8 of 10 series won. And it's about what have you done for me right now and what's your overall record. You lose this series, you're back to 500. Or no, sorry,
you might be one over, but you're
still,
right. I mean, if you lose the next 2 days, which nobody is forecasting,
or just one of the next 2 days,
but if you lose the next 2, you have lost the 8 of 10 series goodwill.
Yeah,
you'd be under 500.
And stop, Schulte, stop throwing that crap in my face. Like, I don't care. Okay, I care about the overall record. You guys have been playing much better of late, but it doesn't really mean much to me unless you guys separate from 500 in a positive direction.
Real quick on last night, we can get to the wrap, even though we're like 2 hours away from the next game. But, the story of last night, beyond they didn't score and they can't hit left-handed pitching, was to waive or not waive a runner with Manny Machado on deck with 1 out. That's basically what it boiled down to. They lose by a run. Jurickson Profar's thrown out at home plate. Manny Machado would have been up with the base open in a 6th inning in a 1-1 game. He was thrown out. They didn't score again in the game. My 2 cents on this, and you can be critical of Tim Leeper. It's fair. They're all public figures. We can be critical of Mike Schild, Bob Melvin, whatever. They're not going to be perfect. So you're going to have to overcome that sometimes. You're going to get guys thrown out. They had other opportunities in the game, Jim, to score more than one time. They were 0 for 6 with men in scoring position. Maybe it wasn't a great wave. Probably wasn't. But they got to do more than what they did, even with that being a part of the game.
I'm so glad you mentioned the base open for Manny Machado, because Ron Washington intentionally walked Manny how many times last night, John?
2.
Exactly. This wasn't like a 3rd inning.
Mm-hmm.
It was the 6th inning, you said? 6th inning. If anybody out there just thinks that Manny was going to be able to swing the bat there, like 100% be able to swing the bat, I would push back on that.
Yep.
You're telling me that Ron Washington, who already walked him twice in the game with a free base open, is going to say, who do I want to face in this situation, Manny Machado or Donovan Solano? People aren't talking about that. They're like, oh,
no, it's true.
Tim Leeper did a horrible job. Now, granted, wasn't a great send. Okay, I'll give him that. I'll say that. But to just sit there and think, I can't believe Tim Leeper sent Jurickson Profar with Manny up next with an opportunity to drive him in. Guys, there's a base open. Ron Washington's not afraid to walk Manny to instead face Donovan Solano. You're telling me you don't think he's going to walk Manny again? Probably is.
But we don't know if the Padres scored 10 runs in the inning or 0. That's the one thing about this. Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. They could have walked Machado. It could have been Solano, who's hit 400 as a Padre or close to it, and he could have grounded into a double player, struck out, or he could have hit a grand slam. We'll never know what would have happened. I thought Tim Flannery had an interesting take on it on social media, which was like, guys, sometimes you got to be aggressive even if you're running into something, because what's the opposite? There's no guarantee with a lack of aggressiveness anything happens.
Play with your tail between your legs.
But there's also no guarantee that if he holds the runner, they don't score 10 runs in the inning.
Yeah, I am on the side of always be aggressive to force the other team to make a perfect play. It wasn't like, yes, the relay had to be absolutely perfect.
No.
But, I mean, they turned that relay pretty perfectly. Like, the ball bounced off the wall perfectly to the left fielder. It was a really good relay. And that's, who was it? I don't know, shortstop or third baseman, whoever it was, made one of the quickest turns you'll see. And Profar was about, a little over a quarter away to home plate when the ball's being thrown to home.
Yeah, it's tough to know.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it was the most egregious send in the world. And I know there's people out there that are just hammering Tim Leeper today and last night and saying that he's the worst third base coach on the planet. I have an idea. How about in the 8th inning when you get a leadoff double? You score a run there.
Or move a runner.
What a crazy thought. Like, this team had an opportunity in the 8th inning with a runner at second and no outs, and they didn't score. So if you're going to blame Tim Leeper for last night's loss, go right ahead. That's fine. But I'm looking deeper here and saying that the players in that 8th inning with an opportunity to score a run there, and it's still a tied game, didn't come through. And if they score there, the game's completely different, in my opinion.
You score one run on a Manny Machado first inning home run. It ain't on Tim Leeper. It might be a part of it, but there's a series of things that don't go right when you score one run, and the only run you score is in the first inning, and you have other opportunities. So that's more in the Padres, in my opinion, than it is Tim Leeper. Kimo Ferrari, new Aztec men's basketball player. Hold Jonas at 4:30. Right now, let's get to this.
Is lifetime ban too steep for betting on baseball?
Baseball is a bunch of hypocrites, because everywhere in ballparks you see ESPN bet, and then on ESPN.com, when you look at the scoreboard or the score bug, it's like right above that, it's like sponsored by DraftKings or sponsored by Prize Picks or whatever. So they're a bunch of hypocrites, and lifetime bans for the amount of like money these guys are spending, or betting on, which is not a lot. I think it's kind of steep, and it's kind of ridiculous, because baseball has this like
holy art thou.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I'll say, and I tend to lean there as well, the only pushback you'll receive from me is like, it is rule 1.
It's true.
The second they're drafted, there's actually like classes they go through to say never to bet, and certainly never to bet on the sport of baseball. And in every clubhouse, major and minor leagues, is this massive placard in Spanish, English, Korean, and Japanese now that lays out the betting policies of Major League Baseball and how specific it is. When you're that, I don't know, I don't want to say dumb, because he may not be. I don't know the circumstances that led him
ignorant,
to bet.
maybe, just like
when you're
oblivious,
when you're willing to break what is a cardinal rule in baseball, whether we like it or not, you have to be able to deal with the ramifications. This doesn't happen every day. They haven't banned someone for life since Pete Rose in '89. It's been a while. So it was basically egregious. He's betting on his own team. Everyone knows in baseball it's a no-no, whether we like it or not.
Moral of the story is you better have a fall guy. Because if you don't have a fall guy like Shohei, then guess what? This is weird. This is going to happen.
To your point, it is weird. Tucupita Marcano, who's got very limited big league experience, is banned for life. Shohei Ohtani, this whole case was wrapped up in like 35 days.
And knew nothing about it.
And everything's closed. The Dodgers are putting out statements. We look forward to moving on. You don't get to set the narrative. I mean, you can do whatever you want. We consider this case closed. That's fine. People can still have opinions.
Yeah.
It's just a weird dichotomy. You got this young dude that's made very little in the major leagues. You got this guy that's earning $700 million, and they get like, it's just a very weird dichotomy.
And two of his best friends in baseball happen to get caught betting. Interesting.
Right. And they spend every day together.
According
to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Will the Niners win a Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey?
I don't know. And
say it. Yes, they will.
I'm not very hopeful for this season just because of that Super Bowl hangover. And it's not just that like they lost the game. We lost the game in the most crushing fashion possible in overtime to Patrick Mahomes, and then the controversy of should you have taken the ball first or should you kick it off? It's not very
controversial.
Well, I think it's a little controversial.
With who?
Well, now it's not. Now it's not really controversial because they lost the game.
Right.
If they won the game, then you would have said, "Oh, great, they did the right thing." But
but they lost.
I know they lost, John, in the most heartbreaking fashion possible you could imagine. I think they're gonna have a down year this year. I just don't see it.
Cynthia Freeland is very high in the Niners. FPI, that football index that ESPN uses, is so high in the Niners, they have them actually graded higher right now than the Kansas City Chiefs. I think your point's spot on. You're asking them to do it again, run it fully back, secure the 1 seed, win home playoff games, have everything work out.
You can only go through so much heartbreak until you have to reset something. And I just think this year they could be good. I just don't think they're going to be like last year's team where,
But I do think they have multiple bites at the apple with McCaffrey. I know he's got a lot of tread, but the 2-year deal gives you you want to win a Super Bowl, but you could win it maybe at some point in the next 2 seasons.
It saves them $8.5 million in the cap, which is crazy.
That's terrific news.
You're welcome.
Next question.
Will JJ Redick last more than 2 seasons as Lakers head coach?
No. Once LeBron's gone, JJ will be gone. Or if they lose, he's gone.
You think he'll last that long, huh?
I mean, what's the best case scenario here even next season for the Lakers? Who cares who the head coach is?
It doesn't matter.
What's the best case? What would you say in the West? They could be like a 5th seed if things worked out really well.
6th seed. I mean, even this year, you thought this team would be like a top 5 seed, and they barely made it.
I know.
Like, who are they going to add to this team that's going to help them? I just don't see it.
Help them defend their in-season tournament championship.
Yeah, they fired a coach after hanging a banner for that in-season title.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to hang the banner.
They did hang a banner.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. I remember everyone mocked him for it.
NBA made him do it.
I don't think he's going to last more than 2 seasons. Nobody lasts 2 seasons in the NBA.
It's like LeBron's just assembling all of his buddies and his son.
Can he play, Redick?
they do need a shooter.
Exactly. Next question.
Well, Adam Mazur's pitching line be tonight in his Padres debut?
I'll go 4 innings.
I'm going to write this down.
Okay. You ready?
I'm doing it. Yeah.
All right. 4 innings.
Mm-hmm. I want innings, hits, runs, walks, strikeouts.
So like everything? All right.
Yep.
4 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts.
That's a decent predictor. I'll go one better. 5 innings, 5 hits. Man, Anaheim's offense. I'm going to trust in Mazur here. I'll give you the same thing. 2 runs. I'll say 2 walks, and I'll give him 5 strikeouts. He's had good strikeout numbers. He's had very low walk totals. So I'll say he goes 5 innings. I think your line, though, gives you a chance to win. If he goes 4 innings and allows 2 runs, then, hey, offense, go do something. This bullpen's good.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps you in the game. Offense, to your point, go score 3 runs in the first inning and win the game.
And Anaheim used kind of their A team yesterday.
They did.
Their bullpen. Now it's only 2 relievers.
Yeah, they might do it again.
But yeah, so just, I don't know, go out and beat a left-handed starting pitcher for once, please.
I mean, those lefty numbers.
Don't look incompetent versus a left-handed starting pitcher against one of the worst home teams. Sorry. the worst home team in all of baseball in the Angels?
I mean, it is crazy. 1.37 combined ERA left-handed starters against the Padres this year. Not every lefty is Randy Johnson that they're facing.
Like, if you lose this series to the Angels, like we said earlier, it kind of wipes away some goodwill that you've done with winning these 8 of 10 series that Schulte loves to, like, you know, preach to the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't have slip-ups like this versus the bad teams when you're not sweeping anybody and you're only, it's like these things come back to bite you in the ass. And you're a 500 team at best right now. Like, you're just average. You're not great. You're not bad. You're average. And the 8 of 10 series is cool, but it also kind of says how bad they were to start the year, that they've won 8 of 10 series and they've had a really good month plus and they're still 500.
Do we reserve judgment? Because I agree with what you're saying, but you can't do this in our job. But like, if we could fast forward 24 hours or 30 hours to the end of the series, it's contingent on the next 2 days is what I'm saying.
Yep.
If they do lose one of the next 2 games, I'm with you. It's kind of like, what are you guys doing? You're just kind of, I don't even know how to describe you other than a 500 team. If you do win 2 of 3, you can go back to that well of like, they are winning series. At that point, they would be 3 games over 500, which isn't something you kick out of bed. They'd be playing decently well at that point. They just got to do it.
And I push back strongly against the notion that, what did you expect from them this year? Like, this year's team is where we all thought they would be. We should just be happy with where they're at. A 500 team, why are we getting upset when they lose these games? It's not like we expected them to win 95 games this year. Have some freaking standards. Have some, like, I don't know, like, want to be better. Like, if you're just going to settle and be okay with this team being 500, cool. Go wave your little flag. Go out there to every game. Buy some hot dogs. Buy some beer. And buy some nachos and have a fun time in the ballpark. And who cares what their record is as long as you had a great time. I'm sorry. This team, with the amount that it's invested in the roster and the payroll and trade equity, like, 500 is not good enough.
That's why I'm on Team Aggressive Preller until it's not good enough. Like, I'm on do everything you can to get this team to the postseason within reason. I'm not advocating right now to go trade away Ethan Salas, Leo DeVries, Robbie Snelling, and whomever, and Dylan Lesko. If it takes one of them to enhance your roster, such is the cost of doing business. It's a high-stakes game. It's Major League Baseball. To get into the postseason, it's going to take a level of risk to get you there. You don't have Joe Musgrove. You don't have Yu Darvish. How are you going to do it? I'm with you. I agree with that. I don't want to see 82 and 80, 2 games out, but what a fun time at the ballpark. They drew 3.2 million fans. What's it going to take to be better than that? And I say do what's necessary. If it doesn't work, there's a new GM. If it does work, the GM stays.
Yeah, have like some standard, you know? If you're out there and you're just content with 500, then you're having a blast this year.
Are we hearing a lot of content?
Well, I think there might be some pushback of like, why are you guys getting so like mad at these losses? Like,
guys, this is a good team.
Not only is this a good team, they're right where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what did you expect? Did you expect 95 wins? Because I didn't expect 95 wins.
Well, I mean, I kind of didn't though.
I didn't either, but I expected it to be better than last year. And I also expected this team coming off of like literally the most disappointing season in franchise history to come back and, you know, man up here and have a better season.
I agree. And they are, well, no, I mean, they're kind of pacing for the exact same season. Mm-hmm. If you multiply this out, they're on pace for what? 82 and a half wins.
Yeah.
And they won 82. By the way, they may make the postseason with 83 wins. I have no idea. They may not. They may end up winning 85, 86 games. They might win 76, 77 games. I don't know. I'm just saying it's not a high bar to cross to get into the postseason. So you better do everything in your power to get there because the bar is not high. They will not miss out with 88 wins. They will not miss out with 87 wins. No. They don't need that many to get in.
Nope, they don't. It's just I just push back vehemently against anybody out there that's just like, why are we what?
Right.
Guys,
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. I mean, this team is right where we expected them to be. I mean, really? I mean, I expect them to be a 500 team. Like, give me a break. Okay?
They've won 8 of 10 series.
Stop living in a world where you're okay with being mediocre. All right.
Yeah, it's like the 8 of 10 series thing. They also won 15 of their last 17 last year. But what does that buy you? Nothing, because they missed the postseason. All right, Kimo Ferrari, great story, local product, played 4 years at Brown. He's transferring back to San Diego State, or here to Southern California to play at San Diego State on the men's basketball team. Kimo Ferrari, the newest Aztec, joins us next on Jon and Jim. All right, Kimo Ferrari, San Diegan, Francis Parker alum, 4 years at Brown, coming back to San Diego State for his final season. He'll join us next.
This update is brought to you by the California Coast Credit Union. Padres Angels game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at not Petco Park, up in Anaheim. 6:38 first pitch. Adam Mazur making his big league debut. Luis Arraez back in the lineup tonight for the Padres. Moving over to NFL news, Christian McCaffrey signed a 2-year contract extension with the 49ers today. He'll make about $19 million per season. And according to Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lynn, the Padres have shown strong interest in pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local.
All right, love this story. Kimo Ferrari, a San Diegan, Francis Parker alum, 4 years at Brown in the Ivy League, heading back to San Diego to complete his collegiate career at San Diego State, and he's with us right now on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, the home of the Aztecs. So, Kimo, thank you so much for taking a few minutes for our listeners and for listeners of the Aztecs as well. First of all, how did this opportunity come about, and thanks for hopping on.
No, thank you guys for having me. So, I mean, first off, just excited about this next year with the Aztecs, and it all really happened real quick. I mean, the NIL stuff, I mean, not the NIL, the transfer portal and all that is just crazy. But my old high school coach, Jim, told me at Francis Parker, he used to coach at San Diego State and was an assistant for a long time in the early 2000s. So him and Dutcher had a pretty good relationship. And after that, I mean, he put in a good word for me, and I've known San Diego State, so it was an easy choice for me for sure.
And for you, like coming back here, how excited are you to be able to do that?
Oh, I'm so excited. Obviously born and raised in San Diego, and you know how good the Aztecs are and everyone that plays basketball. I mean, we don't have a pro basketball team out here in San Diego, so you look up to the Aztecs when you grow up. And going back east, I mean, it's so far away, and not a lot of friends or family really got to see me in person. So excited and amped for this next year.
You kind of had an amazing collegiate career to this point at Brown, and one of the things that really sticks out is what you did for Brown a year ago, where you guys nearly made the NCAA tournament. We can get more into that because San Diego State later saw Yale, obviously, in the tournament. But on your senior night, you scored 39 points. You were 14 of 16 from the floor, 10 of 12 from three. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you missed your first shot that night. You were then 14 for your next 15. What was that experience like? You needed to win to get into the Ivy League tournament. What was this senior night like for you?
I mean, yeah, no, that was just surreal. So, I mean, that was definitely one of the highlights of my Brown career, but I guess I just had it going. Teammates were looking for me. Coaches believed in me. I mean, everything just came together that night. So, I mean, I'm really grateful for that night. It's definitely on the looking back on for the years to come.
Have you talked to the coaching staff at all about potentially what your role would look like this upcoming season for the Aztecs?
I haven't yet. Haven't really gone in depth with them. Brown is a pretty late, just their academic calendar is pretty late. So I actually only got back to San Diego within this last week or so. And then just with dead period for all colleges, that I think I'm going to try and get up to campus in the next coming days and trying to have more conversation, just get to know the coaching staff a little bit better, and just see where we go from there.
Kimo Ferrari with us right now, San Diegan, Francis Parker alum here in San Diego County with us on Jon and Jim. I want to go back to last year because, again, it was a pretty amazing story. You guys were kind of left for dead, right? 6-17 at one point, and you rattle off 7 consecutive wins. You're playing for an Ivy League championship. That's very rare in college basketball to turn a season around like that. How did you guys do it late?
I mean, it just speaks a lot to the culture that we had at Brown. Coach Martin, the rest of the coaching staff there was great. I mean, we had our backs against the wall midway through conference play, 2-7. And then as a group of guys, we just came together, understood what we had, the opportunity in front of us, and really took full advantage of it. And was able to rattle off 7 in a row. And then we were just a couple seconds away from the NCAA tournament. But that journey with those guys was just really special.
When you're watching Yale in the tournament, because the story's crazy, and this happens in athletics, there's great wins, there's heartbreaking defeats. You guys led Yale by 6 inside of a minute to play in the Ivy League championship game. Yale comes back and wins, and then, of course, they beat Auburn, and then they're playing San Diego State and Spokane in the second round in the NCAA tournament. When you're watching Yale, are you thinking that should have been us, or how are you watching that experience?
I mean, it was right when our spring break started. I had to finish a paper, so I'm actually on the plane ride back to San Diego for my spring break, writing a paper, half watching Yale on the airplane. It's a little bittersweet because the Ivy League in the Northeast, at least we feel like we get a little bit overlooked. So it's really nice to see that conference do well in the past 2 years with Yale this year and Princeton last year. But when you are that close, it definitely has a different feeling that you feel like you should be on that stage. But nothing but happy for Yale, and I mean, just looking forward for Brown next year. Hopefully they can get on that stage.
What was the paper that you were writing? What was that on?
I think it was an entrepreneurship class. So I did in-depth research about Gap and their big data analysis and how they can apply consumer behavior to their consumer trends.
It sounds like a paper you would write, Jim. Right?
That actually does not sound like a paper I would ever write. Did you get a good grade on it?
I think so. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I did. I was more concerned with March Madness for the ensuing week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Kimo Ferrari with us right now. Again, the newest Aztec here on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So in doing some of the research for our conversation, I read, I think you may have said, like, you're way on the floor at Brown when you were an underclassman, maybe a sophomore, maybe your junior year as well, was with your defense, right? You're taking a lot of charges. You're playing defensive first basketball. Is that something that also was appealing to San Diego State? Because obviously it's known for its defense first culture.
Oh, definitely. I think, at least for me, and as my process in this recruitment is just looking for a great fit. And I mean, the location is great, being back home with family and friends and all that, but just the culture and the way that Dutcher plays is definitely something really appealing to me. I mean, their defensive first mentality, something I find is parallel to my game, and I just in love with the culture that they have. So, I mean, that was really what drew me to San Diego State.
You've been to an Aztec game as a fan at Viejas, correct, or no?
I did. Last game I actually went to was when Brown played San Diego State.
Oh my gosh, I remember that game.
Yeah.
Desmond Cambridge?
Yeah, no, it was right before a holiday classic game of mine, so I only got to stay till half. But yeah, no, that was the last time I was in Viejas, so hopefully we can turn that around. Hopefully I don't bring that bad luck in there.
Well, yeah, hopefully you don't bring the bad luck in here, because if you do, we're all blaming you. But, now this whole full circle where, you're going to be playing at Viejas, what does that mean to you and your family that, you're going to be potentially on the court here playing when you were a fan in the stands?
Oh, I mean, it's just great. I mean, grew up, played basketball, and then probably going to be my last year of competitive basketball. I mean, it just comes full circle and really just trying to take advantage of the opportunity. So real grateful that Dutcher and the entire coaching staff gave me this opportunity, really just try and take full advantage of it. But I mean, really going to try and cherish this last year for what it is.
What's your familiarity like with the Aztec roster? Again, it's only June. There's plenty of time, obviously, before the season starts. I'm curious, do you have like relationships with any of these players? Wayne McKinney's a San Diego guy, right? Played at Coronado. Have you played against or with Wayne McKinney or any other Aztecs?
I haven't played against Wayne. I know, like, in high school, but obviously played pickup with him. Pretty good mutual friends. So once I decided it was going to be San Diego State, definitely hit him up. And then we're actually in the process of looking for a place together right now. So it's going to be my roommate for next year. In terms of the other guys, I'm not really too sure. I know Coleman Jones from Middle Tennessee, and then you have Boyd from Florida Atlantic. I don't really have the personal relationship with them as I do with Wayne, but definitely looking forward to get to know them in the next couple of weeks.
As you know, because you've attended games as a fan, I mean, Viejas is one of the premier environments for college basketball in the country. Do you have a best college basketball environment to this point during your 4-year career at Brown? Maybe it's the Ivy Championship game in New York, but is there another game that sticks out potentially as well?
First Division I basketball game was UNC at UNC, which is pretty crazy. But the Ivy League tournament, though, was pretty crazy. And then, I mean, the biggest game I remember going to as an Aztecs fan growing up was when they had Arizona. I think it might have been the early 2010s. I'm not sure who was playing, but I remember Arizona came to town. That was a huge game.
Well, we're excited for you. I mean, what an amazing opportunity to come home after graduating from Brown and getting a chance to play for San Diego State for a final collegiate season.
We need to get you an NIL deal with some type of car dealership for Ferraris, because, I mean, it kind of sets up perfectly.
I mean, if you guys can set that up, I'd be more than willing.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, it's easy
Absolutely.
for us.
We both drive Ferraris, so it's not an issue.
I have 2 of them, actually.
We work in radio.
Yeah.
Kimo Ferrari, congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing you on the Mesa soon. Thank you for taking time for our listeners, and enjoy the summer, and we'll catch up again soon, all right?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, great stuff. Kimo Ferrari, the newest Aztec, coming home to the Mesa. Pretty cool story.
Yeah, very cool story. That's first game, or the last game he was
Dude, that game was
Vegas
a disaster.
against Brown. And now he's on the court, and he'll be on the court with this Aztec team.
So that game, real quick, Desmond Cambridge hit like 153s. Brown, well, like consider this. In the Brian Dutcher era, where San Diego State has won like 95% of their home games, they lost to Brown December 29, 2018, 82-61. 82-61 in a game where I want to say Desmond Cambridge, he had to score 30 points. It was something ridiculous. So anyway, they're not playing Brown next season. They're just adding a player from the Brown Bears. All right, on the other side, we're going to give away tickets to see Daryl Hall June 16th at the Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Do not call right now. We'll let you know how to win those tickets. We do have 2 free tickets to see Daryl Hall June 16th at the Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, we'll give away those tickets on the other side. Plus, does the punishment fit the crime? That's next. Music Festival is back, and you can win tickets before you can buy them. Live performances by Big Sean. Is it Camila Cabello?
Yeah.
Okay. Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, New Kids on the Block. Shabuzi will be there.
Oh, I love
And
Shabuzi.
more, September 20th and 21st, T-Mobile in Vegas, 2 nights, 1 stage. Listen to win tickets before you can buy them, including airfare and hotel in Vegas, plus $1,000. Keep listening to win. And our exclusive Capital One cardholder presale begins next Wednesday.
Shabuzi.
I would like to go to that.
I'd love to go to that.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do.
You want to go to that?
September 20th and 21st. Yeah, absolutely. We should do it. We should pregame. Not like pregame. We should do a show before the T-Mobile.
Yes. It makes perfect
iHeart Music
sense. The
Festival.
iHeart Music Festival and
San
Sports
Diego
Talk
Sports
Radio.
760.
Yes, they make perfect sense.
I agree with you. I agree. That's why I was telling our listeners about it. Okay, we will give away in a moment. Be listening for a chance to win tickets. See Daryl Hall, June 16th, Calcoast Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. We touched on this briefly during the wrap, and we can get back to AJ Preller's aggressiveness or not, as the trade deadline is now, 8 weeks away. Does the punishment fit the crime? Tucupita Marcano, who won 4% of his bets, which is almost impossible to do. He should win for losing that badly. That's impossible. Tucupita Marcano is gone from baseball for life. At one point, this guy was like a real prospect, top 10 prospect in the Padres organization. Jay Groom, who the Padres gave up a lot of money to acquire, essentially, in the Eric Hosmer deal, is gone for at least a year because of betting on baseball. Is this a reasonable punishment for the crimes? The average bet that Jay Groom made, this is in Bryce Miller's column, $15.12. And Tucupita Marcano won 4% of the bets that he made, which is just, how is that even possible? But is this reasonable? Is this punishment fit this crime?
You're like Jay Groom.
How so?
He makes bets minimum for $15, and you do.
No, I do like 10. I do like 10.
Oh, so you're yeah. Another player that got suspended today for a full year, Oakland pitcher Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
He bet a total of $99.22 on Major League Baseball games. Cost him the entire year, which he would have made a minimum of $720,000.
But did he win?
No.
He didn't win. He lost $99.
And then Tucupita Marcano bet more than 87 grand
on the Pirates, right?
On the Pirates on 25 games, including Pirates.
So that's
games.
the ultra no.
He lost every parlay involving Pittsburgh.
How?
I don't know. I mean,
was he betting on them to win and they kept losing?
It's almost like, bro, I'm just going to ban you for life. Not because you bet on baseball, because you lost. You're bad at betting on baseball and you lost every single bet.
How is that possible?
I mean, I'm not great at betting either, but I've won some.
Sure. You're not winning at 1%.
And I know when to stop.
Right.
It's baseball. If they're going to ban Pete Rose for life, then if anybody bets on baseball anymore, you have to continue to do the exact same thing. Because imagine if they didn't give any like this harsh of punishment for these players for betting on baseball. Pete Rose is sitting there like, what the hell?
What about me? Yeah.
My big thing is I don't care if they won or lost or the amount of money. For me, it's, did you bet on games you were directly involved in? You know,
that's why Marcano's punishment's different.
You know, if he plays, I'm just throwing teams out. You know, if I play for the Reds and I make a bet on the Dodgers Brewers game, I don't think that should be as heavy as a punishment as if I play for the Reds and I bet on the Reds Brewers game, because I have direct impact on it. Or I might have the other flip side is you could have inside knowledge just because you're in the league. So you might know that
someone's out or
so you would, you know,
but you're right. That's what happened. These 4 other guys got the year because they were betting on other teams. Marcano got the lifetime ban because he was betting on his team. Therefore, there is a belief you might have knowledge that the betting public wouldn't have.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a bad situation, truthfully, because it's so boneheaded. I mean, to give up hundreds of thousands for hundreds of dollars doesn't make any sense.
Like, you have to be a real and maybe they didn't know, even though it's literally plastered everywhere and in front of your face. Like, well, don't bet on baseball and don't bet on the games that you're playing in.
Well, that's the thing too, since, you know, it's like John said earlier, it's everywhere in the clubhouse,
everywhere in all languages.
Why don't you just go and, you know, Jim kind of joked about it, but get a buddy to place the bet. You know, if Jim's a Major League Baseball player, don't place a bet yourself, Jim. Give John the money or me the money and have them go place
I don't know
if
that would protect him or not.
I mean,
guess it's probably not.
I mean, I just mean it would be, you know, don't do the investigation for Major League Baseball. You know, don't just come out and blatantly bet. You know, if they're gonna investigate, let them investigate.
Just do what Shohei did. Just make sure there's not any records digitally of anything.
I mean, you do wonder,
and let a fall guy take the play.
You do wonder. let's say there was. I mean, this is going down a whole nother path. But let's say Ohtani did what Tucupita Marcano did.
Oh, bet on
the Angels.
Oh, okay. Then it's over for him. You think so? You think
you tell me.
Oh no, it would have been over for Ohtani.
I don't know.
Definitively,
yeah.
Would have been over.
Yeah. Now, I think Ohtani is very smart, but I also think that it's just no matter what anybody says, that whole situation's still very fishy. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I don't care. You can throw all this stuff like, oh, the feds this. Dude, I know common sense and I know street smarts, and you can't tell me that your best friend that you're with all the time, you didn't know at all that he bet and had a gambling problem. Like, that to me, it just
and that's why I asked the question. I'm not saying I'm not saying it. I'm throwing out the idea. Hypothetically speaking, if he was part of the same ring, would the exact same punishment have occurred?
Ohtani's not guilty of anything. He's not guilty.
Right, we're not saying he is.
The only thing he's guilty of, as James says, is in the chat.
Naive.
Yeah, he's guilty of being an idiot. How could you not know something was going on?
Right.
That's just what I think. I don't think. Yeah, and I joke, guys. Like, some people actually are like, Jim, did you look at the records? Yeah, I looked. Okay, I know. Okay, but it's a joke, and I hate the Dodgers, and Ohtani's on the Dodgers, and so I will continue to joke about it.
I just wonder if baseball will continue down this path for how long. As in, these are the rules. Okay, that is the punishment. I understand that. But are you going to risk the possibility of a star being banned from the sport? And is that ultimately good for the sport? Like, yeah, the letter of the law is you can't bet on baseball, but you're going to lose. But at the expense of what? The most marketable player in the history of the sport. And again, that's just a hypothetical is what I'm throwing out. All right. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets. See Daryl Hall, June 16th. This is coming up in about a week at the Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. We have 2 free tickets. Daryl Hall, Hall & Oates. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. Caller 5, those are yours. 877-767-4760. 2 free tickets. Daryl Hall, June 16th, Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Great venue. 2 free tickets. Call right now. Caller 5, they're yours. 877-767-4760. On the other side, AJ Preller. Is he willing to go all in yet again here in 2024? We'll weigh the pros and the cons next to kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. Padres Angels, game 2 of their 3-game series. Tonight, 6:38 first pitch in Anaheim. Adam Mazur making his major league debut for the Padres. Good news, Luis Arraez back in today's lineup as he missed yesterday's game. Major League Baseball announced today they suspended Padres pitcher Jay Groom for a full year because he gambled on baseball while he was with the Boston Red Sox. And they've also banned Padres player Tucupita Marcano for life for betting on baseball while he was with the Pirates. According to Ken Rosenthal, Dennis Lim, the Padres have shown strong interest in pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. And NFL news of the day, 49ers signed Chris McCaffrey to a 2-year contract extension. He's set to make $19 million per season now. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim. We do have Jim's back page coming up. We do have tickets to give away to see Britt Floyd. We've given away those Daryl Hall tickets. We'll give away Britt Floyd tickets this hour, Jim. So be listening for your chance to win those tickets. We started the show by talking about the Padres and their level of aggressiveness with the trade deadline about 8 weeks away. Jeff Passan today saying the Padres have been hunting for starters even before Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove went on the IL.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Lin, Ken Rosenthal following up with a specific name you just said in your update. Garrett Crochet. 24-year-old, having a very good year for the White Sox, controllable through 2026. What are they going to do? I think there's only one real answer. We don't know if they're going to acquire Garrett Crochet, but we do know they're going to go down the path of making an acquisition because that's who this guy is. I mean, AJ Preller is always on the hunt, whether it's trade season or not. He's without Yu Darvish. He's without Joe Musgrove. They're being linked to Garrett Crochet. There's still so much time. I mean, there's 8 weeks until the deadline, but it's almost hard to envision that he isn't doing something of substance with his rotation at the deadline or before.
That line in the report of the about the Padres looking for starting pitching before Darvish and Musgrove went on the IL. Yeah, probably, because that's what every team does that's in contention. Like, oh, yeah, we need to look at some starting pitching. When those two guys went down, that's when things started to ramp up. No doubt about it in my mind, because they're in a position where you're in a mid-National League. I do believe this team will make the postseason. I don't know how good they're going to be, but it's just get in the tournament and see what happens. But with the loss of Musgrove potentially for the rest of the season and the loss of Darvish for an extended period of time, and who knows how he's going to fare out for the rest of the year. He can make another IL stint because of his neck or back or whatever, right? Because he's old. The 2 IL stints that, occurred over the weekend, definitely their, need for starting pitching and them going out and trying to get starting pitching in my mind.
I agree with you. I mean, Jeff Passan writes this exact sentence. Even after getting Dylan Cease, the state of San Diego's starting pitching is grim. And the Padres are going to need to get creative to fill the void and still remain under the luxury tax, by the way. They have $10 million or so to play with. So he's saying it's grim. He's pulling no punches. Need. He honestly, dude, to get through 100 games, and I'm not saying they have to do it without Musgrove and Darvish, but let's just go down that path. If you had to get through 100 games without these 2 workhorses, do you really have confidence that they make the postseason? In that scenario, that almost is hard to envision. And that's why it's almost like a necessity, because you might be without one of them.
Well, you know why I think I have confidence is because how just average the National League is.
Nah, I don't have confidence. If they didn't have Darvish or Musgrove and they didn't make a move, I don't have confidence. No. Not 100 games.
It'd be tough.
Yeah, be real tough.
But also, Preller can't sit here and wait. Like the moves for Cease and the moves for Luis Ariz were moves that he hasn't, frankly, made in the past. Like
that early?
That early.
Mm-hmm.
He's made those moves at the deadline and those moves in the offseason, but that early in a season,
right?
He's never made because he knows that this is a very important year. And he's not going to wait around to see if this team's good or not. He's not going to wait around to see if this pitching staff's going to hold up or not. He went out and made the moves that he thought was best for the team at the time with Dylan Cease and Luis Ariz, both, to me, so far, home run moves that he's made. We'll see down the road if, Drew Thorpe all of a sudden becomes like Cy Young with the White Sox. But right now, Dylan Cease is, thank God they have Dylan Cease. Imagine if they didn't. That'd be a problem. And thank God they have Luis Ariz. Imagine if they didn't. That'd be a problem. So I would expect, and I would not be surprised at all if Preller makes a trade for another pitcher this month.
The other name they've been tied to, and we've seen over the last 24 hours and has been referenced for weeks on end, is Jesus Luzardo, who tonight gives up 9 runs.
Perfect. Trade value's gone down.
He's got a 5.3 ERA this year with the Miami Marlins, but there'll be other names. We had
get him with Niebla. Everything will be fine.
We talked about Tyler Anderson yesterday, who pitched very well against the Padres, left-handed starter, veteran.
Does make a lot of
money. But the point is, even just in rambling, Crochet, Anderson, Luzardo, I mean, this is 3 of maybe 30 possibilities between now and the actual trade deadline. Yeah, that's an interesting conversation. Like, is it necessary? Well, some of it probably depends on what happens with someone like Adam Mazur, who makes his debut tonight. If he is capable of making 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 effective starts, we don't know if he is or not. If he goes out there tonight and goes 5 shutout innings, maybe the conversation changes a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. But you're asking a lot of guys like Mazur, Morahone, Brito, Vasquez. Is that combination going to be enough to get the team, or do you want the sure thing of like, let's just go find a major league starter that can make 20 starts and help us get there?
For 100 games, no. You need to go out and find another pitcher.
It's a lot of games.
For 20 games, you can maybe do it.
Right.
Like if you got like 7 really good starts from Adam Mazur, but that's cool, right? But he's not going to pitch 100 innings this year for you.
No, probably not.
He's not.
Yep.
He's just not. Michael King surpassed the most innings he's ever thrown in the big leagues this year. We don't know how he's going to fare once he gets past that mark. Like what happens when he gets to 130 innings and his body's like, whoa, like, is he going to push through some walls here and pitch like he is pitching right now for the remainder of the season, or like be consistent? The only guy that I really trust in that rotation is Dylan Cease, because he's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
And his body is equipped to go 180 plus innings. Matt Waldron, Michael King, Adam Mazur, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, those are all just like, hey, I don't know.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Because you're right. Michael King, this is to his credit, he has already thrown a team high 73 innings, more than Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease has thrown 71 innings. Michael King has thrown 73 innings. He's only allowed 59 hits, by the way, in those 73 innings. But to your point, we're not even at the halfway point. You just like pace this thing out. And what is that? Like 175?
From going from 100 to 175. And like, how is he going to be at the end of the year?
Right.
When you need him to be his best.
Through 180.
When you need him to be his absolute best if you plan on making a run in the postseason.
Because of that speaks actually to Paston's point that, like, even if you had Darvish and Musgrove, I would be like, you got to add. We don't know about King in the second half of the season. We don't know about Waldron all year. Is this knuckleball going to hold up? He's been awesome recently. He has exceeded expectations. By the way, King, Cease, Waldron all have sub-4 ERAs. King, Cease, Waldron all have sub-4 ERAs. That's good. But now what about your other 2 spots?
So Michael King, most innings he's ever pitched in his entire career was 100 last year with the Yankees.
Okay.
Matt Waldron, the most he's ever pitched in his entire career is right now, 63 in the third.
Do you worry about it with him?
He's kind of got a rubber, like
knuckleball guy.
Yes. But still, I'm with you. Like, just this is my point. And then if I'm going to go to Randy Vasquez here, all right.
Mm-hmm.
The most innings Randy Vasquez has pitched in his entire career is...
It's not going to be a ton, that's for sure.
It will not be a ton. It will be last year with the Yankees, 37 2/3. All right. The pitcher that they're trying to, I guess, acquire right now, and Garrett Crochet, the most he's ever pitched was
this year.
60. What is he at right now? 69 2/3 innings. If 4/5 of your rotation are guys that their career highs in innings don't top 100, a little scary.
Well, I guess
you traded for like Garrett Crochet, which we're talking about. I'm not anti Garrett Crochet.
Okay.
I'm not anti. I would want them to go out and get Garrett Crochet, but I'm just telling you, it's not. I feel like this home run move that some people might consider, just given the fact that you got now 4 guys in your rotation, all going to have the most innings is ever pitched in their entire career happen this year with the Padres.
But do you even need them to hit a home run, or do you need someone to do the job that currently nobody is doing? Like, you have multiple spots open in your rotation. Yeah, you could go low ceiling Tyler Anderson, just hypothetically speaking. He's had a very good year. You kind of know what you're going to get out of him. You could go with a player like that, or you could go a higher ceiling, more controllable piece. It's like, what are you looking for? I don't know if they're looking to hit a home run. I think what they're looking for is to avoid at all costs 2021 Vasquez and whomever. 2023 Musgrove goes on the IL the day after the trade deadline. Chris Paddock goes on the IL the day after. Like, you got to account for the fact that someone is potentially likely to go on the IL after the deadline. It happens every year with the Padres.
Yes, you're right. And when I say a home run with Garrett Crochet, I think it has to be because you'd be giving up top prospects for him.
But I think the reason you'd be giving up top prospects is he makes no money and he's controllable through 2026.
Yeah.
So what do you want?
I want a home run.
But I'm saying you're getting a lot.
Yeah.
For a guy that's under control through 2026 and is having this really good year.
Yeah. And I don't want him to be, I don't want him to be just average for you.
Yeah, but I know I guess my point is, can we guarantee? Give me a name. Jesus Luzardo. Can we guarantee he's better than average?
Is there another pitcher out there that is a proven guy?
I'm sure,
and available, and isn't going to cost a lot as far as prospect capital goes, that you can go out there and get, and he's just going to be just as effective as if you went out and got Garrett Crochet?
I think the answer is probably yes.
Okay.
I don't know who that is, and I don't know if they're going to be available now.
Because what Preller loves to do is always go for the home run. To me, a Garrett Crochet, because of the controllable years, because of his age, because of, you look at his advanced stats here, right? The cost of him, that's a home run. That's a home run. Like, in the sense of you're going to be trading some very well-known prospects to get him if that were to happen. So it better turn out to work for you.
Yeah, I know, but you can't. I understand what you're saying, but you can't not do the deal because you're not 100% certain what's going to happen in the future as a result of the deal.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just like, if they made the deal, I would still sit here and be like, I have questions about him. Hey, can he last for an entire season when this is the most innings he's ever pitched in his entire career?
I get your point. I guess my point is I would have questions if they traded for Shota Imanaga, not happening. We'd have questions. If they traded for Ranger Suarez, not happening. We'd have questions like, oh, he's not the same pitcher in San Diego, or oh, his innings are, he's taxed. There's always this. I mean, Joe Musgrove was a legitimate workhorse in his prime that has now broken down to some extent.
His arms, given out. Yeah.
This guy was as good as gold, right? Late 20s, not a ton of tread on the tire.
I mean, the reason why they signed him, because he thought he was the guy that's going to give you 180 innings per year.
And that's the thing. It felt like a pretty good investment at the time. We were proponents of it. It felt like a hometown discount.
Well, we know starting pitching is such a crapshoot.
That's the thing. It is a crapshoot. So maybe in your theory or your point is, then don't go high risk. Go low risk, low ceiling.
So would you put Garrett Crochet in a high risk?
I haven't done
like
the
high
deep
risk,
dive.
high reward.
Probably riskier with reward, which is actually the type of way that I would prefer to invest than the low risk, low payoff. Look Rich Hill, give me a break.
Yeah.
Costs you nothing, but you get nothing out of it.
You get, it actually hurts you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they'll go for a Rich Hill type, assuming that they're in it. Last year, they were like quasi in it. This year, and there's still so much baseball, it's almost laughable to discuss standings at 63 games. Like, I feel like you're really discussing maybe like the 100 game mark.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But Garrett Crochet is a pitcher. It would be interesting though if the White Sox traded him, because you would think
you'd want to
keep him to like build around. Because besides his ERA, every single one of his numbers is great. His WHIP is below 1. His batting average against is below 200.
Strikeouts are crazy high.
His strikeouts are crazy high. 93 strikeouts in 69 2/3 innings.
Yep.
Doesn't really walk a lot of people. He's only walked 15 guys this year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird how like the White Sox would be doing another trade like that.
Right. And there's by the way, in this article, it said nothing imminent, and who knows if they can lock horns on a deal, because the Padres have gone to the well of their system so often recently. Soto, Arise, Cease. Like, do the White Sox even want what the Padres are offering? There's a very good chance they're not offering Ethan Salas. Nobody's arguing for them. I'm not saying go trade Ethan Salas. I'm just saying if it did cost you one or two of your top handful of prospects, are you willing to move them to, quote unquote, not assure yourself a playoff spot, but put you in a better spot to reach the postseason? Is it worth that risk? Like someone put on the text line, but what if they lose in the first round? Well, nobody can predict that. So what if they lose in the first round, but what if they lose in the first round next year? So you're going to hold your prospects because they might lose in the wild card round? I feel like he's a very, I know he's a very aggressive general manager. I don't think he's going to change his DNA this year and lack that aggression at the trade deadline. I feel like he's actually going to go further all in to do everything in his power to assure the fact that the Padres reach the postseason in 2024 after disappointing in 2023.
Don't usually do this in radio. You don't single out somebody in radio, but this guy on the text line is 858 number. Bro, you're a freaking moron. You listen to us, okay? And you constantly text us on the text line. We're not the idiots. You're the idiot, because you say you don't like to listen to us, but guess what? You listen to us all the freaking time. And you're calling us hacks and you're calling us morons and all this stuff. Thanks for listening, but you're the idiot because you listen to us.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he'll keep listening because now you're
right. Yeah. Exactly. Congratulations. I singled you out, buddy.
Congratulations, 858.
Yeah.
If you want to text us, by the way, 70470, you can start your message with the word team. Again, 70470. Start your message with the word team. This was the text I was referring to. Okay, JS. But if he trades to make the playoffs, gets booted in the first round, and in 2 years our farm is depleted and we have to pay players with a lower payroll, then what? I don't care. I mean, he has proven before he can replenish. He's also proven that he could acquire players like Luis Ariz and Dylan Cease. So, like, he acquired proven commodities this year with his system. It's like, in Preller, I trust until he's gone. He either gets the team to the promised land, aka the postseason, or he doesn't. But he's got to get him there. I don't see why you would sit on your hands if you're Preller, not make the move, and then put yourself at jeopardy as a GM. So I think he's inclined to do the aggressive, higher risk, higher ceiling move. But we'll see if that's
whatever it is.
Or not.
He's going to make a move. Like, he will make a move, guaranteed.
Yep.
Because when he feels somewhat decent about his roster and when his team is in contention, like, he just can't sit still. He has to tinker. And frankly, he has to do a move for the pitching staff side, because there's just a bunch of unknowns going to the rest of the season. And you can't just sit here and wait for guys to potentially come back. You have to be aggressive, and you have to say, all right, well, can't really trust Joe to make a return this year. Hopefully he does, but I'm not going to sit here and trust it. So I got to go out and I got to make a move, and I got to fix that while we have a bunch of time, because realistically in baseball, it's just about getting in. It's all that matters, is just getting in.
Diamondbacks, Phillies.
And I saw a tweet today. It was like, if history holds true, one of these teams will be in the World Series this year. And it was like from the Padres all the way down.
It's like the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals, Cubs, Giants, Nationals. Like, it was like, if history stands true in the National League, one of these teams, one of the last wild card teams, is going to be in the World Series this year.
And like, truth be told, we've had this conversation before, and we can do so maybe on the other side. I mean, we're looking way down the road, but like, if you did tell me they had Dylan Cease and Garrett Crochet and a healthy Yu Darvish, I tell you they got a shot. Like that's what I would tell you. If you told me right now, I get 2024 Garrett Crochet, I've got 2024 Dylan Cease, and I'm betting on the upside of Yu Darvish, I'll take my chances. To your like the point of just get in, and then anything can happen. If I got Dylan Cease and a healthy Yu Darvish and a healthy Garrett Crochet, I will absolutely take my chances in that hypothetical.
There's also that thing where it's like, if you is that the number? No, it's not. If I thought I was like, sure, bring him on, idiot. If you do get to the postseason and you do have a bunch of injuries in your rotation,
sure,
then it's a different story.
You got no shot.
You got no shot, like in 2020.
Yeah, even 2021 if they would have made it 100%.
Yeah. It's about being hot at the right time and being healthy at the right time. But if you have no pitching, and it's a bit kind of a problem.
We'll get your calls on the other side. 877-767-4760. We'll give away those Britt Floyd tickets on the other side as well. Be listening for that. Jim's back. Pages ahead. We're with you until 6 on Jon and Jim. All right, so imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free, no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system, and you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. In fact, you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home, and you can use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saving over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value, it's way up, and you can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, maybe get some money for home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. You can call now, 619-207-4336. That's 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
This update's brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. Padres Angels, game 2 of their 3-game series tonight up in Anaheim, 6:38 first pitch. Adam Mazur on the mound for the Padres, making his major league debut. Luis Arraez back in the lineup for the Padres today. That's good news. Bad news, MLB suspended Padres pitcher Jay Groom for a full year because he gambled on baseball while he was with the Boston Red Sox. And they have banned Tucupita Marcano for life because he bet on baseball while with the Pirates. And according to Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lim, the Padres have shown strong interest in pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. And NFL news of the day, Niners signed Christian McCaffrey to a 2-year deal where he'll be making $19 million per season. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local.
Make his big league debut in just over an hour. Now we have friend of the show and just flat out friend on the line right now, Mark Nimitz, our buddy.
I don't know if we should say as well. That's fine.
I just said it.
You did. You said
Mark
it.
Nimitz, Farmers Insurance. I'm going to say it. 877-767-4760.
At Nimitz at farmersagent.com.
Mark,
Jon and Jim sent you.
Mark, appreciate chopping on, man. What's on your mind?
On my mind is I will take all the pressure off of Tim Leeper tonight because Jose Arraez is back in the lineup. I'm definitely upset at these guys like Jay Groom and Tucupita Marcano. I mean, just complete idiots off the record. Complete idiots. You got to know what you're doing. And for them to essentially make that mistake, Groom cost them a year. Marcano forever out of Major League Baseball. Major blow to the Padres, but just stupid stuff. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it.
Mark, first of all, thanks for calling in. Yeah, it is stupid. I mean, honestly, it's like me before. It's like I before team. You're hurting the team, obviously, and I don't know if Marcano had a future with the Padres. I don't know if Groom had a future with the Padres, but now I know they don't have a future with the Padres. I know Mark was critical last night. A lot of people were of Tim Leeper. Understandable. I think it played a role overall, but they did score 1 run. Like they scored 1 run in the game, the home run for Manny Machado. They had opportunities for more than that. Hopefully Luis Arraez unlocks it again. Like this guy's been incredible to not have him even for a game. Clearly impactful. So let's see if Arraez. I mean, I hope Arraez looks like Arraez. Like that's my hope. He's DHing, had this shoulder thing. Like you expect this guy to fall out of bed with a couple of hits. That's what I'm hoping for and basically expecting here tonight for the Padres.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how Jay Groom was being talked about, I think, last year as a guy that maybe could get in the rotation. And now he's suspended for a year. Tucupita Marcano, I think he played with the Padres last year, right? Like he had a couple appearances, right?
I don't recall that.
I thought he did. Either last year or whenever he was the Padres, I thought he appeared in some
before
games.
He was traded.
Before he was traded
to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's when his only time with the Padres was 25 games in 2021.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about. It's just it's stupid because you're throwing away your entire career to try to win a couple $100.
Even if it's a couple thousand, it doesn't make any sense.
Because the minimum salary if you make the big leagues is $750,000.
Yeah.
You make the big leagues, boom, $750,000. Right. Like I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
But again, I'm not that person, but I do know people that are, degenerate gamblers, and it's something that they just can't walk away from. Like it's just so hard for them to walk away from something, even if it's a small parlay of like $20.
Is it a bad look?
It's the thrill of like that gambling and winning.
And now these things, by the way, occurred when they weren't Padres farmhands, right? Like Marcano with Pittsburgh, Groom, I think going back to like 2020 or 2021. They happen to be with the Padres though right now. Is this a bad look on the organization in any way? No, it's more reflection on the individual.
It's the individual. This happened before they were on the Padres, and they weren't on the Padres at the time.
Exactly. So and even if they were, is that a reflection on the organization if you make a bad decision? It's like saying, if Jim's always late to work, does that make iHeart look bad, or does that make Jim look bad?
Right.
I mean, I'm just using an example. Like, if Jim's late or if John's late, does that mean the opposite? Like, we're both accountable for one person's actions? Like, ultimately, it's a very individual act. You go to a phone and place a bet.
Yeah.
What's that? I mean, that's not really organizational.
It's zero reflection on the team whatsoever.
Because this has been across all teams where we've seen PED usage across a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this type of betting. I mean, this doesn't happen every day. Yeah. Guys getting suspended for a year or life. This is really rare.
Yeah. Most of the instances that happen with players when they get suspended for things like domestic violence or crimes or gambling or whatever the case may be, like that's on the player. Now, it's if the team enables it and gives these players opportunities after they have gotten in trouble or whatever, then it's like, okay, then it's on the team because you're giving these guys opportunities when maybe they shouldn't.
We have to remember this too. Like all people, by and large, obviously professional athletes are young. Everyone makes mistakes. Maybe you're more prone to make mistakes when you're young than when you're old. But think about all walks of life. We read the news. You say, how could this person do this? They had this going for them. How could this person commit this crime? They had everything going for them. Like, people don't always think rationally. Also, sometimes people think they can just get away with it. What's it going to hurt? I can do it. Nobody's going to know. So it's just it's an odd circumstance. I mean, it's not like, again, you're going to see guys getting suspended for life. This hasn't happened since 1989.
It seems like there's a lot of players lately just getting popped for.
I mean, the Tatis thing was like, what? When we were on the air and Tatis got the PED suspension?
Oh, yeah, PED. Yeah.
Like, and again, you're thinking to yourself, like, for who, for what? Why, Mr. $340 million man, are you even risking anything?
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, John, because he's not the same player that he was before. And that conversation will continue to probably get louder and louder.
Right.
The more he just is kind of a little above average.
Right. And I guess my point is, it speaks to sometimes people make like stupid mistakes. Like, I wouldn't think with $340 million guaranteed, I'm going to try to I got to get back in the field quicker. Right. So I'm willing to be suspended. You know what I mean? So I don't know the motivation is my point. I have no idea.
Well, we're also not in those positions, but still, from an outsider's perspective looking in, it just what it's not worth it. Like, the risk is not. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, even if nobody finds out.
Yeah, it's like, it's just stupid.
By the way, real quick, ESPN Bet, speaking of betting,
shocker,
has the Angels as a home favorite tonight.
They must know something we don't.
The Angels are, I mean, a marginal home favorite, minus 110, which is basically a straight bet. But the Angels, who are 8-21 at home, now again, the Padres are sending a major leaguer to the mound for a very first time in Adam Mazur, but they do get Luis Ariz back. I mean, Patrick Sandoval has been awful. He's 2-8 with a 5.34 ERA. He's a home favorite for the 8-21 home Halos.
Well, maybe they're saying, okay, Padres suck against left-handers, so
probably right.
We're just going to put the Angels as the betting.
And question mark about Mazur.
True.
We've never seen him.
Rookie.
Yeah, rookie making his major league debut.
Yeah.
So again, everyone's like, well, they're going to win this series. All is fine. And if they do, all is fine. If they can somehow win this series, I have no complaints. I just don't. Winning a series in Kansas City, winning a series against the Angels, coming home off a 4-2 trip, I'm not going to complain about that.
It's just when you're a 500 team and you constantly are going back and forth, it is the literal definition of roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, man.
Mike Schultz will refuse to use because he's obsessed with, the 8 out of 10 series that they've won, even though they're one game over 500. Like, I mean, think about that, John. I mean, imagine like trying to sell this 8 out of 10, series wins that you've had, but you're 500.
Right.
I mean, you look like a fool. Like, bro, you're a 500 team.
Yeah. I agree to some extent, but like the proof's in the pudding of 42,500 people in the building when you're playing the Miami Marlins. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you're right. They're a 500 team, but other 500 teams are playing in front of no one.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm saying that the fans are on the same path you're leading them down. They believe in you just like you believe in you, Mike. Do they not? Because when I watch games, if the White Sox were 32-31, they're not.
They would not have.
They'd be drawing 13,000 fans. If Arizona was 32-31, they'd be drawing 16,000.
Well, I guess everyone's just content with 500.
I don't think it's content. I think it's a really good fan base.
No.
I think it's a supportive fan base.
It is a supportive fan base, but I don't know.
It's not. I don't think it's about being content. Mike Schilt, we could argue, but
Schilte's fine with it.
I don't know if he's fine with it. I don't. I really don't. I think he, like you and I, realize that he's got to win. Probably
doesn't feel like it.
Maybe not.
Doesn't feel like there's this urgency. Like, I mean, maybe it's too soon in the season to feel that way. I don't know. But anyway, the trends are now that you're a 500 team. You suck against left-handers. You can't win at home in front of the 40,000 amazing fans here at Petco Park. And you're constantly pushing narratives of positivity when you're a 500 team.
Yes, Mike Schilt has been that manager to this point. All right, on the other side, we will get to Jim's back page. Caller 3, you've got 2 free tickets right now to see Britt Floyd at the Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater June 14th next week. 2 free tickets to caller 3 to see Britt Floyd. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. The number to call if you want them. 2 free tickets, 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. Jim's back page. Next. On the other side, Jim's back page. That's next. So with the media saying Luis Ariz still sore, he hasn't yet thrown or fielded. That's why he will DH here tonight, but obviously feeling better, was not available yesterday, is in the lineup here today, will not field, has not yet tried to field as he overcomes the shoulder that he injured 2 days ago in Kansas City. 4 hits tonight?
5?
5? He hasn't had a 5-hit game yet.
He had a 6-hit game yet?
No, he hasn't. I know. He's gonna will he have 2 hits tonight? Off Sandoval, the lefty.
It's funny. Just real quick. It's funny how we all love Luis Ariz.
Yeah.
But everybody seemed to like hate Juan Soto for doing exactly what Luis Ariz does, which is get on base all the time.
I mean, different games, obviously. I mean,
it's another conversation for
another
day, but it's just funny to me that
it's funny because on base percentage wise, yeah, Soto probably got on at the exact same clip. One of them did it via hit, the other does it via walk, but the same result. Right.
Interesting. Let's get to it, Brent. So in 12 minutes, John.
Okay.
The world premiere first and second episodes of Star Wars Acolyte, which is a new series on Disney Plus.
What's it about?
It's about the Jedi discovering the Sith for the first time 300 plus years before the events of episode 1.
So does that disprove everything?
No.
Oh. Okay.
But anyway, we'll find out.
Which episode 1?
Like they're debuting the first 2 episodes starting at 6.
No, but episode 1, like the thing that came out in the 70s?
No, episode 1 that came out in like the early 2000s.
That thing wasn't very good.
Well, now it's actually viewed as like a classic because people hated on it so much when it first came out. And after a long time, people are like, actually, I kind of like it.
So what are we looking to learn? What are our...
I don't know.
We don't even know. It's like a new story.
It's basically like a murder mystery show.
Like Dateline?
The origins of the Sith.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the emphasis around it is like, it's like a murder mystery with the Jedi. You have no idea what that means.
So tune in tonight at 6.
In 11 minutes.
In 11 minutes, you can watch it on Disney.
Disney Plus. Not Disney, but Disney Plus. First 2 episodes.
Tune in.
Tune in, everybody. if you're not John, because John doesn't watch TV.
How long are these episodes?
That's a good question.
Don't know yet.
I don't know.
We don't know. We'll know in 11
I
minutes.
hope they're closer to an hour than 30 minutes. Because
Right.
if you release the
Doubtful.
if you release the first 2 episodes that are both like 26 minutes long,
Yeah, it's not even an hour.
it's like just make it into 1 episode.
How many episodes are we going to get this season?
I don't know. 8? I honestly, I don't know that.
Okay.
But I would suspect between 6 and 8, 6 and 10. Like,
You think is Adam Mazur going to wait?
8. Okay.
Is he going to wait until after start to watch? He should.
Do you know Yellow Cab Pizza, John?
Of course I do.
It's a
pizza place.
It's a New York pizza place.
I don't know.
Well, what they're doing is they're partnering up with Deadpool and Wolverine, and they are releasing a special Deadpool and Wolverine pizza. You can get the Yellow Cab's Meaty Mayhem XL 15-inch original pizza and Half Moon pizzas in Meaty Mayhem red and yellow for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie in limited edition boxes. So it's like a half and a half box. One's a Wolverine box, one's a Deadpool box, and they're like shape of a heart. It's kind of
okay.
Cool. No chimichanga pizza.
No chimichanga.
How much is that?
Pizza.
$20.
$20 ish.
Okay.
It's not like a.
It's in New York.
It's in New York.
All right.
Let's go.
So Josh Gibson now holds multiple records in baseball. His baseball card sold raw on eBay last night for more than $3,000. In 2017, you could have got the same card for $20. So
How
now,
much did it sell?
over $3,000.
Wow.
So like with him being included in Major League Baseball's record books, his like memorabilia and cards have definitely all gone up, which is crazy.
You know what's weird to me, real quick, on Josh Gibson? He dies in 1947, right? Like when he died, when he passed, how famous was he even?
Probably not.
Probably not very.
Not that very famous.
Because it's segregated society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything was different. Yeah, he was this great player, but it was like, it's so weird 100 years later, not even, but he's been, you know what I mean? Like he never saw himself being celebrated in any capacity, maybe in some capacity, but not in this capacity.
Well, if like you're a family member, like a family member of his lineage, then I think it means something to them.
It means something to a lot of people now.
And well, not them. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
The only thing, and I couldn't remember the name of the movie. I just had to Google it. There's, if I remember, it was like an HBO original movie. It was called Soul of the Game. That was about the Negro Leagues that had Josh Gibson and Jackie Robinson and Satchel Paige, and it was all about the Negro Leagues. But other than that, that was like the only other place I ever heard of Josh Gibson.
It's interesting.
And finally, John, this is interesting. Dr. Pepper has tied Pepsi
I saw that
as the second best-selling soda in the United States.
They've come all the way back to tie it.
They've tied it up. They were facing a huge deficit heading into the ninth
How
inning.
did they end up doing that?
I don't
cream
know.
soda, John.
Cream
Cream
soda.
soda.
Dr. Pepper and Pepsi, each with a 8.3% share of the soft drink market.
What's Coke at?
Both drinks, meanwhile, trail far behind Coca-Cola, which holds almost 20% of market share.
So Coke is only 20% of market share.
Percent of market share. Diet Coke,
I got
7.8.
Well, that's going to go up now thanks to John.
Yeah,
Yes.
I drank
Mountain Dew, 6.3%. Coke Zero, 3.8%. Diet Pepsi, 3.5%. Fanta, underrated,
John.
2.9%. And dry ginger ale, 2.2%, rounding out the top 10 brands by market share at the end of last year.
Real quick, the first ever Stanley Pup premieres for the Stanley Cup June 7th. I don't know what it means either. If you missed anything today, it's about adoption. Stanley Pup June 7th. Missed anything today? SportsSD.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. We're back tomorrow at 3. Join us tonight for a wrap-up show on YouTube. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760. Okay.
Peace out. Bye.